It's killed me 5 times. Five. I have been in 5 sudden cardiac arrests.
Hi friends, welcome back to the Chronic Chronicles. I'm your host, Lexy, and today we're sitting down with someone who embodies strength, softness, and so much honesty. Alli. Her journey through chronic illness has been nothing short of intense. She lives with endo, adeno, MCAS, and suspected POTS, and she's been through 5 endo-related surgeries. Yeah, 5. We talk about the emotional weight of it all, the impact these conditions have had on her daily life, and the ways she's rebuilt after each setback. If you've ever felt like your body has completely changed the course of your life, this one's for you. Let's get into it. To officially get us started, I'm going to have you do a really brief intro on who you are, where you're from, where you're living, and some type of interesting fact.
I'm thinking in my brain. Okay. I can write in cursive backwards. It's the most stupid thing, but I don't even know how, like no practice or whatever. I can just write for you.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I would not have expected that.
It's yeah, I don't know how or why, and I don't even remember how I discovered it, but for the first time, I guess when you're kids, they say,
Yeah.
"Oh, let's try this," and I can just do it.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I don't even think they teach. I mean, I learned cursive, obviously, but my youngest brother is 14 and he didn't learn cursive.
They don't, right?
Yeah, they don't learn it anymore. And I'm like, okay.
But how do you not have a signature then?
I really don't. I feel like even now, most signatures are just yeah,
Like
my,
doctors bullshit, even if you're not a
yeah.
doctor. Okay, introduce myself. Hi. My name is Allison Lalochi, or Alli, or whatever you want to call me is fine, from the United States of America. I grew up, I guess, half of my life in Delaware, and then the majority of my life in New York. And I said majority, and I said half. I messed that
That's
up,
okay.
but even though I'm Asian, I'm not good at math. I can I can write in cursive backwards. But I guess I lived half my life in Delaware, half my life in New York, and now I live currently in Tirana, Albania.
How long have you lived in Albania?
3.5 years.
That's so cool. What took you there? Why?
So the easiest answer is because my husband is originally from here, and
Okay.
so we could both work and live legally here.
Hmm.
The long answer was we were just getting tired of the hamster wheel that I feel is American capitalism.
Yeah, that's
And,
valid.
yeah, and when we talked about it, we were here visiting in January of 2020. And when we came home, we were talking about, oh, like maybe we should think about moving overseas
Mhm.
someday. That's what we said. And then, as you know, a few months later, the world shut down. Other
Yep.
shit happened. Like, actually, my mom got very sick, and we moved in with her 2 days before the world shut down, uh,
Wow.
without knowing that the world
Yeah.
was going to shut down. And, we were with her through that. We were with her through COVID. We helped her do the whole recovery thing. And when the world opened and the doctors told us that she was okay, we started saying, well, why wait? We have nothing, like we lost our apartment in New York City. We both lost
Ugh.
our jobs. My mom is okay now. Why wait? So we literally just did it. We just booked tickets to one-way tickets to here. We made
Oh my
sure that our
gosh.
cat, who is one of them, is right there. Actually,
Oh,
by the way, there's two, but one of them is he likes to sleep with me. We made sure that he could go, which by the way was so much more shit to have to do than, and I think it cost more to get him here than us. So we bought the tickets and we sent our main stuff, like our motorcycle, our books, our photos, our clothes on a ship. And we just came. And literally
wow.
that's like what we did. We just came here.
I
So
love that.
thank you. Yeah. So 3.5 years later, we are
Yeah.
here.
Oh my God, that COVID though, and living in New York City, awful. That, yeah.
It was, yes, eventually my mom's house was in Delaware, so we're very lucky that we got to spend most of it there. She
Yeah.
wanted to be in her house,
Yeah.
understandably, but it just, I don't know, all of COVID in general was such like, in some ways was actually life affirming in that I really didn't like the path our lives was on in terms of
Hmm.
career and things,
Yeah.
and same for him, that and neither one of us like we sadly, or maybe not sadly, because I just feel like, people who are meant to be together are together anyway. We know so many couples who broke up in COVID, like not
Yep.
just like got divorced and broke up. And for us, it was like the best. Not that COVID was great. Being together was the best thing ever. We didn't see each other so much in New York,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Like being able
I
to
mean, we
just be
loved each
stuck.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we were like, this is the best shit ever. I want to be able to eat breakfast with you. I want to be able to have coffee with you. I
Oh,
want to eat dinner with you. I want to be with you. And New York
yeah.
City does not afford this. And we also like have like I told you we changed our whole lifestyles. Like we don't drink alcohol, we don't smoke, we're not like we're super healthy people. And also New York City, like life is not, I mean,
Yeah.
there's also, of course, different communities, I guess you
Yeah.
can fit
Yeah.
into, but we're also not super fanatical. And I just found that New York City is like fantastic. And I became an adult and my own person there for
Yeah.
sure. Um, it's just, I don't
It's
know.
so fast.
Yeah.
It's so fast and it's so like grind culture and it's so hustle and bustle and loud and yeah.
Yeah. We were
But
just done.
it's fun for a
Yes.
certain amount of time, but yeah, it's a lot. I don't think right now I live just outside of Seattle and my boyfriend and I are from Michigan. We moved out here for his job and we talked about living in actual like downtown Seattle. And I was just like, that's fun for a little bit, but I don't know. And it's nice to like Seattle is different than New York City, obviously. Like there it's more
Mhm.
naturey, even in like actual Seattle, and it's pretty walkable, like all that stuff. So I'm like, that's all great, but it's still so just like loud. You can get shot. Like I'm just like, I
Yeah.
don't know. I would rather just live. So we live like 10 miles north of Seattle in like a little suburb, and that's
Nice.
much better for me.
Nice. We also live on the outskirt of the city center here
Yeah.
because it was done for us. But it's good. We do get to see each other every morning and we get to
Yeah.
eat lunch together every day. And we get to see each other at nighttime every day. I got to open my own yoga studio here, which
Mm.
seemed such like a far, far off thing in America. He gets to coach soccer here. And so we get to do the things that we love.
Rewinding a little bit more into your story, when I know that you have a couple of things going on, did have going on, whatever, they're chronic, they're forever. So
Yes. Yeah.
so you have endo
Yes.
and a couple of other things, like you mentioned MCAS and potentially like POTS type
Yeah.
symptoms. So,
I have all the symptoms, but nobody here can we're also here, the one thing, every place has shitty things. This
mhm,
place is still quite like patriarchal, and like women were like hysterical. It's Balkans. It's the Balkans.
mhm,
I don't know what I would have done if we moved here and I was like 20 instead of I was like 39 when we moved here.
yeah.
So because it's just like, but I don't really give a fuck anymore.
Yeah,
So, but
that helps.
yeah, for sure. But so they can't diagnose this. But okay, so I have endo was the first thing I was diagnosed with.
What did that look like for you? Like when did you start having symptoms that you were like, this isn't normal? Like, I don't know.
Well, so the sad thing, I got my period at 13, and I think a really sad thing that I'm not sure. if it's still true today, but
Hmm.
like at 13, nobody talks about your period with you. I mean, you know you're gonna get it, whatever the fucking bullshit they give you in sex ed class. And like
Yeah.
your mom is like, oh, here are some pads and you can use a tampon. But like, I say I have cramps and it's like every other woman's story. Oh, that's normal. So
Hmm.
I don't know, but I do remember more than one occasion, but one was so traumatic. I would
Oh,
bleed through like for my whole life, my periods were so heavy. I mean, like I don't even know if a diaper would have contained
yeah.
it. And I was in school and probably 13 or 14 years old, and I had on white shorts. And
Oh.
I, to this day, like very short shorts. I had white shorts. This sounds disgusting, but you can feel when
Hmm.
they, and it was just like, and I was like, oh my God. And like clots and blood and like down my leg. And I had to take
Uh,
my shirt off. I luckily, because I'm from that time where you wore layers, I took
yeah.
my plaid shirt off and I tied it around my, but it was so embarrassing. But this happened like more than once. And like, you just think that this is what it is to be a girl.
Hmm.
And I have always been so active in my whole life, but I also started noticing that like running was like not my friend. And I didn't know why because I liked to run, but I would always get such horrible pain when I
Yeah.
ran.
Yeah.
So now, fast forward to the beginning of sophomore year of college. So I'm what, 19 years old? I started not being able, I could not go to the bathroom. No, I'm girl, nothing, not laxatives, not like the whole, because you're 19 and we didn't have like the same Google or Chat GPT or anything
Yeah.
23 years ago. So I'm like, okay, maybe if I, and actually I've heard other women my age say this, we would try to starve ourselves for not on purpose, but
Yeah.
so that we didn't add anything more to our digestive system. Okay. To see,
Okay.
like, okay, well, maybe if I don't make it work harder,
Like
whatever's
it'll
in
just happen.
gonna leave. Anyway, that didn't work. That's the first thing that started happening is I couldn't go to the bathroom. And then I started getting, but okay, not the first, that was the first big warning sign that something was wrong because I've always
Yeah.
had the heavy periods and the pain and like, but I thought those were normal. Well, I knew that not pooping was not normal. And then I started having horrible moods. I mean, like mood swings, like I'm like the most ha 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 like person. And for no reason, like horrible. I started getting very sick. Clearly, you can't poop, but
Mhm.
I was getting like flu-like symptoms, and then I started bleeding, and I didn't stop bleeding for 1 month goes by, 2 months go by, and all this time I must have gone to 25 different doctors in three
Oh,
different states, and
yeah.
all of them were like the most every commonly heard thing from of all of our community. Your labs are fine. You're so fit.
Hmm.
You're crazy.
Yeah.
Literally told my mother. Also, I'm 19 years old, so you really don't need to tell my mom anything, but you're telling my mom instead of me. This is when mental illness starts to present itself. So maybe you should take her to see a shrink because
Oh my
she's
God.
so physically fit and she has like labs like she's like young and there's nothing wrong with her. And
Uh,
they would get, but see, I would be hysterical because I would never keep my mouth shut. My mom is from the generation that keeps her mouth shut, and she would get so mad at me. And I would be like, no, you're wrong. I am not lying. Bleeding nonstop for 2 months is not normal. I cannot shit. I started screaming this to them. I can't shit. Now I
yeah.
can't eat because everything I eat makes me vomit. I am not, this is not okay.
Yeah.
They sent
Like,
me
help
home.
me.
Yeah, they didn't help me. So I remember this was probably in just after Christmas of my of my sophomore year of college, I am getting sicker and sicker and sicker. Like I went from being maybe 128, 130 pounds to 111 pounds.
Wow. Yeah.
And I'm 170 centimeters. That's not
Yeah.
cute. Look.
Yeah.
And I was like missing classes, which was not like me either. I remember I passed out in my dorm and I woke up with my boyfriend at the time. He had me in the shower in freezing cold water. My
Oh God.
temperature was like 104 still.
Oh my
And
God.
he was like, I'm going to take you to the hospital. And you know, coming from a poor family, you don't want to go to the hospital because you can't afford to go to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So he stayed with me all night and he said, I'm going to take you to the clinic then. So he took me to the clinic the next morning. They told me that I had just a bad UTI that maybe caused a kidney infection. I said, I was a lifeguard and I swam for fucking 10 years. I have had
Mhm.
UTIs. This is not a UTI. They prescribed me an antibiotic. I couldn't make it to the car. He had to come help me.
Oh
I
my God.
remember getting in the car, and the last thing I remember is I looked at my phone to call my mom and I watched it fall. And I woke up 2 days later in the children's ICU in a different hospital in Radnor, Pennsylvania, because I had died in his car. When I arrived at that hospital, I had no pulse. I had
Oh my
very
God.
little, my kidneys had completely shut down because endo had strangled my colon and my intestines closed. Was also on my ureters and everywhere else, but yeah. So that's how
Oh my God.
I had endo. I died twice. Well, at least twice then. So I only count 2 times. Once, but I coded twice there also. They had me in medically induced coma for 2 days to put me on dialysis and
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that my temperature was because it was like I told you it was 104. That's like
Yeah.
fry your brain
Yeah,
type of
that's like insane.
shit. I don't know. They're like, I don't
Oh,
even know how you didn't die because your body was in septic shock. Like
yeah.
that was how the first time I found out. That was how I found out I had endo. And like I said to my, I had my, it wasn't just my mom, by the way, who didn't believe me. My best friend at the time, we had 2 roommates because it was a 3-girl dorm, also
Yeah.
didn't believe me. The only person back then who believed me was his name was Rick. Was Rick. He was the only, and they all were like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," but it's so sad to me that like because I find this still to be the case today, which makes me sad for you guys. The women don't believe you
Yeah.
because because this was 20 something years ago, and just about 2 years ago, 2.5 years, well, 4 days after we arrived in this country, I got very sick again.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very afraid that the same thing that happened when I was 19 was happening then. I
Yeah.
was kind of right, actually. But like it happened and my husband wasn't here.
This episode is sponsored by Some Days, my holy grail when it comes to managing period pain and endo flares. Well, honestly, and just pain in general, any type of muscle cramp. If you found yourself curled up in bed wondering how cramps can feel like you're being run over by a teeny tiny internal bulldozer, yeah, same. That's where Some Days comes in. Their cramp cream, absolute magic. Their magnesium bath soak, heaven in a tub. They're a company built by people who actually get chronic pain, not some boardroom of people who think a pink heating pad is a cure. Check them out at somedays.com and use code ChronicChronicles for a discount.
And only his mother and his cousin were here, both women, and no one would take me to I just arrived here and I do
Yeah.
not speak this language and they would not take me to a hospital. They told me I had COVID and I was so weak I couldn't get myself out of the thing. Anyway, I didn't have fucking phone service yet either.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
When he came home, he took me to the hospital. And I was right. Then that started our like decision, like, well, we should probably try. I've never been able to get pregnant. I said we should probably try to start IVF now because we both wanted that. Anyway, we tried two different doctors, like three different times. It was not successful any of the times, but also my endo was getting worse. And then I was starting to like every single day, I would
Mm.
have pains that were so bad that I would start to suffocate and black out. And it happened to me crossing a street here.
Oh my God.
And they're out of nowhere. They just come out of nowhere. And it was almost every single day. And sometimes it would last for 5 minutes. And sometimes it would last for 3 days. And I would lose time. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know what was going on. I wouldn't know anything. And so I'm very pissed at the IVF. We spent all of this money and
Yeah.
neither of these IVF doctors said anything to me. I went and got a pelvic MRI because it was getting so bad. And I knew what happened previously.
Hmm.
And I sent it to 5 different specialists because they didn't have specialists when I was 19. I've had
Yeah.
5 surgeries total.
Like all related to
Yeah,
endo
and
or
all of
yeah.
them. Yeah. Dr. Vidali in New York. Well, the first one to get back to me was a doctor in Turkey. And he
Hmm.
said to me, I mean, he got back to me so fast. And he said, and I appreciated this so much. And I wish that more, he said, you need to have surgery like yesterday. I do not recommend you come to me. What an amazing doctor. He
Yeah.
said,
Instead
this
of
is
just being
not,
like, yeah, I'll try.
yeah. And he said, this is not, I don't specialize in this. This is not my field. He's like, he specializes in female reproductive diseases and things like this. He said, but I don't do this every day. And
Yeah.
so he gave me like other surgeons' names. I had sent my stuff to Dr. Mangs in India, place in Greece, place in Romania, Italy. Anyway,
Hmm.
Dr. Vidali in New York was the next person to get back to me. I did not expect this. He called me from his cell phone, was so, he was so nice. Like, I don't know everybody has very different experiences with different people, but for me, he was so nice. This consult was totally free. I mean, like, I'm in a different country,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And he still called my cell phone, like, talked to me for a long time about everything that he saw. I'm getting ahead of myself. He's amazing. But he said to me, and this was the first time anyone in 23 years has told me, you also have adenomyosis.
Hmm.
Never once did so IVF doctors should know this. If you know, you can see it. They
Yeah.
also should tell you this before they try to go further. You should know
Yeah.
this. I didn't know. I had no doctor ever told me this. They said I had a tilted uterus,
Hmm.
and they've said, oh, your uterus looks big, or no one has ever told me I had adenomyosis. And I don't even know why. I'm not mad at myself because that's a waste of time, but I didn't even know why to not think to ask if I had it, because
Hmm.
I guess I just thought like all of y'all are looking in my uterus like 20
Yeah.
million times.
Like if you saw it, you would tell me.
Yes, I just feel like that's like the responsible thing to fucking do as a
You know
doctor.
what? This is funny. Not funny. I don't know why I said funny. Ironic. I found out recently, last year actually, at my like annual with my just primary doctor that I have an enlarged liver. And she got this is like the one doctor that has finally just been like, let me see all your medical records because there's just like a bunch of stuff going on. So I sent her like all my medical records up until I think I was like 18, like everything I could get a hold of. And I've had so many scans since then, like in the last 10 years. And she's like, look at this. And on my documentation from surgeries, scans, they all say that I have an enlarged liver and no one ever told me. Like, I've had an enlarged liver for 10 years. And I'm like, hello? And she's like, we need to get a hand, like this puts you at risk for things.
Yeah,
And I'm like, cool. Why did no one ever tell me? I'm like, you guys
I don't
notated
understand.
it in your documentation, but I don't really have like I don't have that. Like it's just in
Yeah,
records. And I'm
yeah.
like, okay. Like I got my gallbladder taken out when I was 15 and so that was the original. She was like, I want to see because she asked me a year ago. She's like, "Hey, like I can feel your liver when you got your gallbladder taken out. Did anyone?" And I was like, I was 15, like I don't really know. And
Hmm.
sent her that's when she was like, "Send me all your records." And even on my gallbladder surgery when I was 15, they notated that my liver was large and there's pictures of it. And I'm like, so I've been like I'm at a higher risk for cancer now.
For everything.
Like, this is really nice. But, anyways, just another thing that apparently doctors, not all of them, some of them are good, but I don't know why they don't just tell you what they see.
Like, seriously, just it's my body. Just
Hmm.
tell me. You're the
Yeah.
person to tell me.
Yeah.
Anyway, he told me he was so great. He told me I can't wait. And also another thing that I very much appreciated is he's in New York and I'm here. And he said to me, I will take you right immediately if you want to come, which also is amazing because I know he's very, he said, I will take you immediately. Like you need to have surgery. You cannot wait. But I know that you're in Europe. So I can recommend, he recommended me Dr. Malzoni in Italy because it's a 45-minute flight from here.
Yeah.
Again, amazing, like another doctor, helping. So not only did he recommend this amazing world-class surgeon to me, so like taking business away from himself, he contacted Malzoni for me. And Malzoni reached out to me. And then he said to me the same thing. The first thing that they set up was a Zoom call like this. But when he also asked for my everything, and I have a wonderful little presentation. I made my medical chart like a brochure. I was like, everybody's asking me the same shit. Here you go. So
I love
anyway,
that.
but I did send like all of the images, all of everything. Anyway, he looked at it and he said, "I'm really sorry that they scheduled you for a Zoom. I am going to schedule you for a surgery, and I will see you in January." And this call was in like December, so that's
Wow.
how fast it happened. Yeah, and I went there. He's amazing. I would recommend him to anyone. And I had a total hysterectomy and endo excision, but that comes with a lot of a different kind of grief. I
Yeah.
lost my mom and my uterus in like 1 year. So
Ugh,
great.
that is so hard. I know I've recently talked to quite a few people that have had hysterectomies plus excision kind of as a treatment for endo, but at the same time knowing that like you could still have symptoms post surgery and all of that stuff. But you also don't have to answer these questions, but the people that I've talked to on the podcast prior to this have been like, I don't want kids. So that's why I went that route.
Yeah.
It sounds like more for you, like the system kind of failed, and there could have been ways that we could have maybe preserved your opportunity to have babies or like given you, a higher chance of success if you, I don't know, like that. So it sounds like hysterectomy was maybe not what you would have wanted.
Probably it was not what I had wanted. I mean, so my very first surgeon, she was an IVF specialist. She's the one who
Hmm.
did it.
Yeah.
But I guess that when I was 19, this was probably my best option 23 years ago, right?
Yeah.
She was very kind. She told me then She didn't tell me I had adenomyosis. Maybe, I mean, and I mean, it's probably you have it from birth, like endo too, but maybe it wasn't so progressed, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But she told me you will have a very, very difficult time getting getting pregnant. And then I remember I am pretty positive. And for this interview, I actually reached out to my boyfriend at the time. He has not read my message yet. Not actually because we're not because he's never on Instagram. Like I mean never, but I don't have any other way. But
Yeah.
I wanted to ask him, like, I'm like, you are the only person alive still who could help me remember these things. But I'm pretty sure it's why he and I broke up because he was in the room with me when they said, probably you can never have children.
Hmm.
And that's really hard at 19 to hear. And I didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do at 19, except I knew I wanted to be a mom. And you're telling me that I can't.
Yeah.
But ever the onwards and like hope till hope creates, I was like, fuck this. I'm going to fucking be able to do this. Like, I mean, sometimes it doesn't work out the way you planned because if you asked like for the healthiest person, like how I live my life, like not just like physically, but of course physically, but emotionally, mentally, like you would think that like this girl's like the best, like it just doesn't what I don't know that I'm religious, but whatever was out there was not in the cards for me. But
Hmm.
yes, I do think that maybe they felt, I don't know, because again, we can't change the past. I wish someone
Yeah.
had told me sooner that I had this. I wish someone had offered me, I don't know, told me that maybe you should freeze eggs, or also I have PCOS, which
Hmm.
is like what is the word? You have really high FHS, yeah, something like this all the time. And like when they took mine FHS or oh my God, I wish I could
That's right.
remember the words right now, but
Yeah.
talking hysterectomy, menopause sucks, girl. Like you have words that are sitting right there and
Yeah.
you've like know what the word is, but you can't say it. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, that's just me all the time. So
It just,
the brain fog is real. Thankfully, my boyfriend and I have been together so long that like I can just look at him and I'm like, and he's like, yes. And I'm like, great. Thank you
yeah,
for
yeah, yeah, yeah.
figuring out.
Andy's the same way, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was hard. I guess it's probably also why I waited so long, because my last surgery before this one was in 2000, and I was 28 years old. So 10, 12. Oh my God, how many years ago was that? 14 years ago. And he told me then that he said, you should have a hysterectomy. But again, never told me I had adenomyosis. And I looked
Hmm.
through I've read everything in my file that I could read. Doesn't say this. But he told me then you should have a hysterectomy. But I wasn't ready at 28. I was not,
Yeah.
and I knew it didn't cure endo, and nobody told me I had adeno. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, I can't do this. I cannot give up on this dream yet. But I mean, I suffered pain for 15 years more
Hmm.
physical, but I think that for better, for worse, unfortunately, we handle physical pain a little better than most people. So for me, that was like nothing if I could have a kid. Okay, I can take this if I
Yeah.
can have a kid.
I
Uh,
feel so similarly. I also like found out that I had endo when I was 19, 20, and my boyfriend and I have been together through all of that, and he has also been in the rooms where like my doctors, granted, I just started seeing an endo specialist, so my surgery was just with the general gyno and they did an ablation. She like from the get-go when I was like that young was like, you should get a hysterectomy. You should freeze your eggs. You're gonna have a hard time. You should start trying to have kids now, like ASAP if you want to have them, because like the more it progresses, the harder it's gonna get.
Yeah.
And I have taken all of that to heart, and it's definitely something that like weighs on me all the time. I'm like, oh, well, like I can't afford to freeze my eggs. I'm like, this is an expensive
Yeah.
process. Like,
Yeah.
and now I'm 27 and
And
we're
you have to
like,
pay like all the time to keep them frozen.
yeah, it's like a fucking storage unit, but like
Yeah.
luxury. It's
Like,
crazy.
but it's like $13,000 a year or some shit.
Yeah, it's insane. Like the whole thing is insane. And
Yeah.
I just remember like being literally 19 with my boyfriend who were in college. We've been together like 2 years. We're children. And like looking at him and being like, you have an out if you want an out. Like I might
I
not
said
be
this to
able.
him. I
Yeah.
said that to Rick.
I'm like, I don't know what the future is going to look like. And I know that I've always wanted to be a mom and I will hopefully figure it out. But if you for sure want something like that and you like IVF might be in our future, like it just is probably going to be hard. And he was basically, he's just such a good person. He's just like, whatever happens, happens. We'll figure it out. If we're meant to be parents, then, and we can't do it naturally, then maybe adoption, like we'll figure it out when the time comes. And I'm like, great. Even then though, I was just like, but I want a baby. Like I've always wanted to be pregnant. I've always wanted kids. It's just so ironic. And I like struggle all the time. Like I get bloated and I look pregnant and I'm like, I would be so cute. Like, it's just so, I'm just like, I hope that it happens one day. Like, I don't know. But we've tried so hard that it's like constantly in the back of my head that I'm like, well, maybe like we're 27, like maybe we should, but like I don't feel ready, like financially and like all of this stuff. So I'm like, I don't want to like push my life faster than I want it to be just because I'm scared that like I can't have a baby. So
Yeah.
it's a never ending thing. But yeah,
No,
I'm just around kids all the time. I babysit all the time.
yeah. I wasn't, I became a nanny for a while in New
Yeah.
York because I wanted to be around kids for sure. And I walk dogs because they're like kids. I definitely do not suggest forcing anything uh,
Hmm.
at all. I think I waited I mean, I'm so much eight like numerically older than you. My eggs were, but I still wouldn't change, like I still wouldn't have had, I would not, I'm so glad I didn't have kids then. So much grief, like everyone was telling me you can adopt. This was before the one thing also I don't know if everyone has experienced this after my surgery. I don't know another word to say it because it sounds dramatic, but it's true. I was abandoned by my husband and I were abandoned. Like it was like we were like a disease that they could catch if they spoke to us. Three of my friends got pregnant like after I had my hysterectomy and did not tell me, did not come see me, did not anything. So like this is like a whole other type of grief. And then the
Yeah.
people who would talk to me were not people I knew. And they would just say, you can adopt. This is the last thing that someone who has a hysterectomy who wanted kids, I do not ever want to hear this.
Yeah.
Know that I know, like, you
Like I
know,
know what the options are. I know what the thing, yeah.
the point is I can never physically experience what I will, what a female's body was made to be able to
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
And that's like a hole. It's like a hole.
Hmm.
It was the same, it's a different hole, but it's like similar to when my mom passed away, maybe the same as when your grandfather.
Hmm.
Let's just say that our like souls are a knitted sweater. Okay.
Yeah.
when my mother died, it was like someone ripped, like snatched a hole out of the center of my sweater. If you rip a hole in a knitted sweater, it starts to unravel.
Mm-hmm.
And eh, being I was 40 years old when she died, it can unravel very quickly. And that's not where I wanted because I think I've seen a lot of people. Okay, there's this dark hole, and you see it, and you know that it's there, and you can either embrace that hole and love it, or you can
Mm-hmm.
fall down it. And I
Mm-hmm.
did not want to fall down, so I embraced it, and I said, I'm going to learn how to knit. You
Yeah.
don't know how to knit. You don't have yarn. You don't have needles, but you're gonna fucking try. So you search for things. You find them in the way that your husband laughs, in the way that these cats love you, in birds singing, in little kids laughing, in your ability to breathe. So you
Mm-hmm.
learn how to knit that back together. But then it was the same thing that happened, even though I would make the same decision again, and I
Mm-hmm.
did make the decision, I did choose this, it still doesn't take away the grief, the
Yeah.
hole that's there. And even though you can knit it back together, it is never the same. And so you live with this, you're different.
Yeah.
And different's not always bad, but different is different. And people want you to be okay immediately. But this is 1 year and 2 months, 1 year and two
Mm-hmm.
months after.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I even felt remotely like a normal, not even like the Allison before, because I knew that the Allison from before was not going to be the same. But I don't even think I felt remotely
Yeah.
like I wanted to even be a part of a society until like a year later. It takes you in really, no matter how well prepared you are,
Mm-hmm.
you're still not prepared. And I don't say this to like scare you, but
Yeah.
I still do not encourage forcing something for fear of not having it. Because despite all of this, I am very well aware that my life is still very full,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I still have so much joy. And there is pain. There is still pain. There is still like when the people who were pregnant had babies, and she was like, will you come meet my baby? Like,
Mm.
I will come meet your baby. There's still sadness, but
Yeah.
I think that it's okay to feel sad. I think it's okay to mourn things, and I think it's okay to do this forever. People think that it's not, no, it's not like I'm living in this sadness. It's I'm
Mm-hmm.
feeling this sadness when this sadness arrives, and I this scares people, and people also don't really want to do it themselves. But I think I got off track because I was going on a tangent, and it makes me really sad.
No, it's hard, especially people that I don't know, it's different. It's so interesting listening to people's perspectives on having a hysterectomy when you know that you've never wanted children, you don't want to intend on using your uterus the way that, it's there. And talking to people that have wanted to have children and like what's that like? And I feel like I like the decisions are there no matter what, but I definitely relate more to like I'm the oldest of four young kids. I've always wanted to be a mom. I've always like although there's just so much that goes into it. It's scary and but that's the thing at the same time. I'm like I don't want to let the fear of doctors telling me that it might be hard or it might not happen, like, stop me from doing the things that I want to do before I have kids in my life. Or, like, my boyfriend and I, we've been together for 10 years. We've had a really fun 10 years, but like, we both still have things that we want to do before. Like, we want to get married. We want to enjoy all of that stuff. We want to have a house and we want to like go on some adventures as adults when we can like our whole relationship has been through college and grad school. Like We haven't been able to like experience really much of life as adults without. So I don't know. There's just a lot of like some of my friends like they're like, hey, like you've talked about how you're afraid and like it might be harder for you to have kids. Like, why aren't you trying now? And I'm like, because we just aren't ready yet. I mean, if it happens, it happens, but like,
Fear cannot run our lives.
mhm,
This is going to be a controversial thing to say, and it's in no way, shape, or form to put any of these young girls down. I have found, at least on Instagram,
mhm,
that so many of these endo influencers
mhm,
have allowed this disease. And of course, it comes with a bunch of other shit. Like I told you, I have endo, the mast cell activation syndrome. I guarantee you that I have POTS for
yeah,
sure. I have PCOS and I had adenomyosis. Okay, I have these things, but
yeah,
none of these things define who I am.
yeah,
And I have found way more than not that these new endo influencers have made this their entire identity. And I
mhm,
find this quite dangerous for women their age and younger, and probably even older women my age who just found out now, or like very sad people, because I was very sad for a very long time. And I still get sad today. The difference is now I know it's okay to be sad. It's almost like it it keeps you so victimized by these things, so afraid. They talk about empowerment, but what I see is not empowerment. It's enabling each other to constantly hide behind your, and they may not be classified. It is for sure disability because I've lived it for decades. But okay, I'm usually quite eloquent, but I'm not so great.
No, I get where you're coming from because I it's definitely not something I've like touched on in the podcast, but I also see it too. Like there are some like there's a fine line between having chronic illnesses and having disabilities and then that being like your entire being
Identity.
and like
Yeah,
allowing it to be every aspect of who you are. I do like endometriosis is a huge part of me. I talk about it all the time.
yep,
I am unapologetically open about it. When I worked
yep.
in the office, I if I was extremely bloated and my pants couldn't button anymore, I unbuttoned
I
them.
don't button them.
Like I don't give a fuck. I walk around
Yep,
like that and people are like, "Why are your pants unbuttoned?" I'm like, "I have endometriosis. I'm in a flare right now, but
yep,
I'm working. Like we don't have to like whatever."
yep.
So, and I'll wear like a bigger sweatshirt to do those things. So it is part of my identity, but it is not,
Well, it's a part of who we are. It's
yeah.
there for
But
sure.
yes, there is like a fine line between, you know, that's part of healing too. I remember for quite a long time, like probably the first 4 years of my diagnosis with endo, I pushed so hard to figure out what was wrong. And then I found out what was wrong. And I just like told myself I didn't have it. I was like, well, this is too much for me, actually. I'm like, the chronicness of it is too much for me. So I'm just
Yeah.
gonna like continue on my life like I didn't have that actually. So I've had like both spectrums. I've been like, just kidding. I'm not sick. Like I'm fine. That doesn't work out. And then I've also had like the victimness of it, been like, woe is me. This is not fair. I am
Yeah.
sick. Like
Yeah.
I've had both of them. And now I'm kind of trying to figure out the balance because when you're in this like this controls my entire life. This is all I am. This is all I have, you can't heal. Like you are always sick because
Exactly.
that's all that you say that you are. So there
Exactly.
are some days where I'm like, okay, my cramping is so bad that I do have to listen to my body. But there are
Oh,
also some days where I'm like, just okay, like it's pretty bad, but I'm gonna tell myself that I'm okay and I'm not gonna let like I have plans that I want to do that I'm gonna still do. So
yeah.
yeah, I agree with you in that. Like there are it's a balance.
It's for sure. Absolutely. I think we need to own it, and we need to understand it is with us forever, no matter
Hmm.
how many surgeries we, and so there's like written a poem, and it's at the end of some reel I posted last week or this week, I don't know. But it is, we carry doubt and fear all the time. They're like shadows. If you go too long without a flare, you're like, oh, and then but at some point it's coming. I'm not saying that like because I don't know, I don't know, and I haven't figured it out in 20 years how to not have that, because
Yeah.
the pain is so extreme and you don't want to feel it, but you're gonna feel it. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, but yeah, I just refuse to allow it to be my identity. It is a part of me. It has
Mm-hmm.
for sure, without a doubt, shaped who I am immensely. There is no way that living with chronic pain, and I mean, like, this debilitating, in a ball, can't breathe, can't eat, like,
Yeah.
your stomach looks like you're 9 months pregnant, but normally you have abs, like
Yeah.
these things that you cannot deny this. Again, it's like that black hole of grief. You
Mm-hmm.
can embrace it and say, okay, I'm going to learn how to make you my friend. You
Yeah.
can be my enemy very easily because you cause me pain, but I'm going to learn how to make you work with me, not
Yeah.
against me. And I think a lot of them find, because every one of us wants to be seen and
Mm-hmm.
heard and loved and not have our pain denied or our
Mm-hmm.
experiences denied. And that's absolutely valid and absolutely okay. I just think that so many of them seek this validation continuously,
Mm-hmm.
when the only validation that will ever start to heal you is your own recognition of this. And that despite this,
Yeah.
I am still okay. My womanhood is not defined by my uterus.
Mm-hmm.
My purpose and my love are not defined by a uterus or a disease, or I don't know. And I don't, maybe some people really do like to sit on the couch all the time. And if they do, then that's fantastic. If that's
Yeah.
really what you enjoy, for great. I fucking want to live. I have died. I am 5 times. I am on borrowed time. I want to live the fuck out of it as best as I can. And endo just has to come along for the journey. And if on
Yeah.
some days, like, so when we went to Tokyo, we were there for 2 weeks, but there were 2 days I could not. So my husband and I were like, we went with his cousin and his cousin's girlfriend, and we were like, we're just gonna stay home. So for 2 days we stayed in the thing. And
Yeah.
for sure that's huge healing, is to understand that too. And to be okay with that. Sometimes you do need to, but otherwise my ass is like climbing up the mountain and jumping into the water, like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I find it very scary for young girls, because it is a part of who we are, but I don't think that it needs to be our identity. I do not identify as my disease. It is a part of who I am. It has shaped who I am. And for sure, it brings a shadow of fear, because it has killed me. It has taken away dreams. It's a thief. It's a fucking thief. I'm going to read the poem. Let me find this poem for you. Endometriosis is a thief. Silent, relentless, incurable. It steals our bodies, our time, our dreams. It drains our strength, our money, our love. It takes and it takes, year after year, unseen, unheard, unbelieved. Pain is our shadow, and doubt is our burden. Yet so many don't even know its name. So we must fight for ourselves and for each other. We take our lives back, and we find those who stand with us and move with us, believe us, and support us. This is the poem I wrote for this year. But
I love that. I mean, the message sucks, but like the poem is really good.
I mean, but it's true, but it's what it
It
is. I
is
mean,
true.
I wrote a happier one. I think maybe last year it was talking about, like we rise and we find our tribe and like whatever, but
This episode is brought to you by Spicey, the clean ingredient packed heating patch that sticks with you. Literally. Whether you're stuck in a meeting, you're running errands, or you did what I did this week, was trying to sit by the pool with cramps, Spicey's got your back. No cords, no microwaves, no awkwardly holding a heating pad to your pants like a little weird womb gremlin. Just stick and peel and feel the hot and spicy relief. Go to getspicey.com, that's get, SPICEY.com, and use code Chronic Chronicles for a discount. Because cramps don't wait, and neither should you. Yeah. I like I said, I do agree with you. I think that the sentiment of endo not being your identity is hard, but valid. Like there's a balance. And I think I've said this before in the podcast, and I thought I would never be this person. Like 20-year-old Lexi is like rolling her eyes, but I really think a lot of this stuff comes with age. Like it's
yeah.
just, and I'm only 27. It's not like I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
anything. I don't. But even the stark difference between how I felt about myself, endometriosis, what it's taken from me, like all of this stuff at 21 versus now is just so different. Like
For sure.
I I don't know. People like I have one of my cousins, actually, she's younger. She was like, "Well, you know, would you do the things that you did again, or would you like look at this differently?" And I'm like, I wish that I could say that I would look like I wish that I could say that I would go back to 21 and I would tell myself to think differently about it, but like I think that it all had to happen. Like
Yes.
I had to have the denial. I had to feel victim-y about it to
Yes.
get to a place of like peace now and
Yes.
understanding like now there's a balance between understanding that there are some things that I just can't do. Like
Yes.
I also really like running, but unfortunately I run and that hurts my body. So
It so fucking hurts.
I don't know why. Like, I would love to be able to train and run a marathon at some point in my life. Maybe I will figure out how to do that. I don't know. But at this moment, running hurts me. Like, it flares my endo like no other, but yoga doesn't, Pilates doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Walking at a certain if I walk too fast, it hurts. But like walking doesn't, like there are still ways for me
Swimming.
to live life. Yeah, like have exercise, live life. It's just finding that's the whole journey of endo, really. And the whole thing
Yes.
that I'm trying to do on Instagram, on the podcast, is to give people resources to still live a full life while
Yes.
having a disability, basically. Because
Yeah. I appreciate that so
just,
much.
yeah, it's just hard. But yeah, I get asked that frequently by people that I know and love. They're like, well, you know, you talk about how you wanted to go to medical school and you kind of feel like endo took that away. And I was like, well, kind of, yeah, because I'm grateful that I didn't end up going to medical school now because I don't think that my body could do those shifts. Like, I
Yeah,
work
for
from home
sure.
and it's so much better for my body. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I probably could have done it, but I'd probably end up in the hospital because I'm overworking myself and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, it's just interesting. I have a couple more questions for
Yeah,
you.
that's cool. Ask me.
So, you're an open book about your
Yep.
experiences.
Yep.
What drives you to just share so candidly? Like, why,
Because I
how?
didn't have anybody. Well, first of all, I think that it is also a very good way to heal. We heal ourselves when we help others heal also. But
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have anyone. I didn't know anyone when I was diagnosed. And
Yeah.
it can be so isolating and it's so painful. And again, you look so healthy.
Yeah.
I so healthy. You look healthy, and yet there's this like that lives inside of me. I didn't have anyone, and I didn't know about it before. But like before I was diagnosed, I'd never heard it. I didn't find that any doctors knew about it. Nobody, like, I didn't know. And I
Yeah.
don't want any other woman to feel alone in her experiences or
Mm-hmm.
not know what it is. So if anything that I have gone through can help another person feel validated in their experience or help them find some way to move forward and I don't know, like fly, then fucking hell. And like we're all humans and we share this disease. Like I don't think anything should be off the table. Like this shit, my intestines were closed for I don't know how many years because I had my period at 13 and I found out and I
Yeah.
said at least 6 years this shit's been growing. Like, girl, do you know that like my intestines had stopped? I had no peristalsis. I had to have colonoscopies every 3 fucking months. Okay.
Oh.
I had to one time, I'm telling you, I'm going to just tell it to the world. So if anybody hears it, they don't feel bad. I woke up in the, not gynecologist, gastroenterologist office in their waiting room in a fucking diaper. Okay. They
Yeah.
sent me home. I shit myself in this diaper on a New York City subway. I
Oh
had
my God.
I had to get off of the train and I went into the Barnes and Noble and Union Square and I had to shit. I was in that bathroom for like because of fucking, and they're like, oh, well, you had a colonoscopy. Yeah, but I had to have this colonoscopy because endo strangled my colon closed.
Mm-hmm.
And I had, oh my God, come on, hemorrhoids, ulcers in the bottom of my stomach because everything was backed up. I had just had surgery, but I had no peristalsis. So I had to take Miralax and all this shit
Ugh.
all the time. I had to go all the time for them to see if my shit was like coming back. And I literally shit myself. Like, so there should be nothing on this disease is fucking wild and crazy and it fucks up all of your shit. I mean, like not only my colon, it has fucked my kidneys. It's been on my
Mhm.
ureters. I don't know why it seems to like my colon area and my ureters more than it likes I don't, from my recall, and I could be very wrong, but I don't think it's ever been on my ovaries. It's been
Yeah.
on my uterus. I mean, like, it's never touched my ovaries, which is the most common place. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
but let's just fuck up her colon and her rectum and her intestines and her ureters and her, like, let's just like twist everything up and attach it to the pelvic wall in one giant spider. Like, that's what my shit looked like on the inside. But
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know why we shouldn't be embarrassed. Like, I think people would be embarrassed to say, like, yeah, it's shitty and it sucked. And I was like young, I was younger than you, and that sucks. But
Yeah.
fucking, that's part of like this disease. It's crazy and it fucks up your whole body, your whole
Yes.
body. And like maybe some other girl had the same problem and she's too afraid and thinks that it's shameful. Girl, it happened to me too. I shit
Yeah.
myself in New York City public subway headed to
Uh,
Brooklyn.
oh my God.
I just don't want anyone to feel alone. I
Yeah.
felt alone and I felt isolated in my experiences and a little crazy because it does fuck up everything. Like
Mm-hmm.
currently, I've had the most painless year of my life from the hysterectomy, but still I have complications from so many adhesions from 5 surgical
Yeah.
pelvic surgeries that it's like,
Yeah.
and I told you, so like it has attached my ovary, my fallopian tube, and my ureter to my pelvic wall on my right side.
Mm-hmm.
And because I've had surgery every surgery, it's been the same. It's like repeat, repeat.
Yeah.
Uh, it has now like the adhesions have fucked with my fascia and my nerves so much that currently I cannot actually feel the lower right portion of my pelvis into my hip. I have to go tomorrow. I have a physiotherapist appointment at 11 in the morning. It's like really difficult, especially I mean, I teach yoga, I do yoga, but for my it's not, again, with age, this would have been devastating when I was like, honestly, even when I was 27, there are some things that I could do before my surgery in terms of like handstands and arm stands that now when I try to lift my sacroiliac joint on my right side is like frozen now. It doesn't
Yeah.
work. And it's starting to pull my iliopsoas muscle on my spine. I have no pain from endo right now, but I have this. And then I have adhesion pain on because it was all over my pelvis on my left side when like the time when I should have had my period, but I don't have my period. I get I guess I call them mini flares, but I went back and there is no reoccurrence. Scar tissue and adhesions, they cause very similar pain, and nobody really talks about that. And also, I was not so lucky that there were specialists when I had my first surgeries, because that matters who does them, right? I had the top, he is one of the top surgeons in the world do my last one. It was by far my easiest surgery, my easiest recovery, and the fastest physical recovery I've had. But I had so much, he told me, you have so much scar tissue in there that like you could have the hands of God sew you, but how that heals on the inside, they have no control. So, even after the surgeries, we still have pain, and that's really hard for people to deal with, I think, because they think like it's going to be a God saving, but I don't know. And again, like you said, endo is like such a journey that you learn differently all the time, because after this surgery, because of the mast cell thing, before this surgery, almost anything that somebody could be allergic to, I would have allergic reactions to, like just smelling it. Like I could, but I had no actual allergy. Like I went and took allergy tests, no allergies. I couldn't even like smell peanuts. I would break out in hives. About 3 or 4 months after this surgery, I can eat peanuts again, but the POTS got worse. So endo was like fucking weird, man. And then because like when we grow, our hormones change also, and then you get a total hysterectomy, and so like that changes things too. And so, but it is, I don't know that I can go so far as to call it a blessing. I would never, ever, ever wish this disease on anyone else, but I will say that it keeps me on my toes about what's going on inside of my body, for sure. I did have to learn, like you were saying, to not be fanatical. Is fanatical the right word? Look, it's getting dark here.
Oh yeah.
Or anxious about it, like, oh God, oh no, oh. There is always doubt that a flare is coming. Not that that just like kind of lives like somewhere back here all the time. Just I used to be like, oh God, what's this? Oh God, what's that? And things like this. And you have to learn like, well, that's not a way to live. You can't live this way. You can't live like, so I don't want anyone to feel alone. I love all of you. You need questions. You have to tell me, whatever. I don't want people to feel alone. And I really think that to heal, you must own all of the shit that's happened to you shamelessly.
Yes.
So,
yeah, I agree. Where can people find you to connect with you?
My Instagram is fine. It's Alli Laloci, ALLILOLOCI. And my email is the same, allilaloci@gmail.com.
I'll put it in the show notes too, so people can just look in the show notes and figure out where to find you and chat with you. This story is a powerful reminder that chronic illness doesn't just affect our bodies. It affects our careers, our relationships, our self-worth, and our sense of possibility. Living with endo, adeno, POTS, MCAS, all of these chronic illnesses is no small feat, and yet Alli shows up with courage and clarity through it all. If this episode moved you, send it to a friend or tag us on Instagram. I love hearing how these conversations land for you. And don't forget to follow the Chronic Chronicles for more stories, and as always, be gentle with yourself. Healing is not linear, and you don't have to do it alone.